you have that other one to sign?
So let's
Do you have the other one to sign?
Yeah.
We don't have it over here yet, sir. We'll have it for you back here.
We're gonna talk through this.
The first is
All
the
right, we're gonna talk
rescissions
through
of
it.
78 Biden-era EOs and presidential memoranda.
You want to call it out? Do you want to say it? Do you want to say it?
Oh, if you want me to, sir.
Why don't you say what I'm signing?
Sure. The first item that President Trump is signing is the rescission of 78 Biden-era executive actions, executive orders, presidential memoranda, and others.
All right, we're gonna talk. Pardon. We're gonna talk through it. So, he just signed 78 Biden era actions, executive orders, presidential memoranda, and those things basically include like climate and energy things, the federal workforce situation, immigration, and social policies. And he's gonna talk more about them. I don't know why he signed this one thing that gets rid of 78 different things and then signs individual things that are also part of the 78. So I have to do more research into that, but from what it looks like right now, it says that the climate strategy, he withdrew states from the Paris Climate Accord, the federal workforce, he ended work from home policies within the government and mandated a return to work order for government employees. And there's also a hiring freeze, immigration. As far as immigration is concerned, he declared the national emergency at the southern border. The Remain in Mexico stuff that we talked about earlier. Social policies. He rescinded the protection against discrimination based on gender, identity, and sexual orientation. So all of that stuff. If you're part of the LGBTQ community, then that applies to you. All of these things. This is, what they would consider woke and all of that stuff. They not playing that no more. They basically just told you in this thing, and that's what he's signing right now. So if you think that the inauguration was just an inauguration and it was just, letting him be the president, he started working already. He started signing stuff today. And he said he's going to do these things on day one. The next thing we got to look out for is to find out if he pardoned the January 6 people, because that was a bunch of people wilding and they should still be in jail. But that's what we're dealing with right now. But let's keep on going, though.
Thank you, sir.
It just don't feel good. It don't feel good.
The second item, President Trump, is a regulatory freeze, as you announced in your speech, preventing bureaucrats from issuing any more regulations until we have full control of this, the government and this administration.
Yeah, J.D. Vance, I don't know if you saw him, but he was standing in the background like he's just hearing these things for the first time. I don't think they include him in anything. But the regulatory freeze that they're talking about is basically it says designating to a halt to development and implementation of new rules, federal agencies until the new administration reviews them all. So anything that Biden tried to do last minute, this is like a chess move to stop everything. Like if you were trying to do something last minute and trying to get it in there before before Trump officially took office, then that's what that stopped. It's like, nah, we not letting anything through. So yeah, chess.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, can I have a pen?
The next item, sir, is a freeze on all federal hiring, excepting the military and a number of other excluded categories, again, until full control of the government is achieved and we understand the objectives of government going forward.
Yeah, so they sneak in these little things like there's a hiring freeze in the government, period. You're trying to get a government job, there's a hiring freeze. You cannot get that job right now until they figure out what they want to do with the government. And if you are in line with that, then you could potentially get hired. But if you're not in line, in lockstep whatever with what they're trying to do with the government and the future of the country, then you won't even be considered for that job. So if they believe, like just an example, I'm going to keep on bringing up this example because it applies to everybody in my community. If you are a black person or a brown person or a person from Asia or something like that, you're more likely black though, black or brown. They're going to consider you a DEI hire, and they're not doing any more DEI policies. So they're just going to label you DEI, not based on your credentials. It doesn't matter if you're overqualified for the position, as long as you, to them, as long as to them, they think that you're not qualified because the way you look, they're not going to hire you once the hiring freeze becomes inactive. So take that into consideration.
Could you imagine Biden doing this? I don't think so. I don't think so.
Like I don't really have much to say besides, like, he's just tacky. Like, you was next to the man the whole day. You won the presidency and you didn't run against him. You versus him ended a long time ago. Why are you still taking shots at him? It's just tacky. Now, if anyone talks about him, then they're bullying him and all of this stuff. Like, it needs to go both ways. But the Democratic Party is still too, like, fair. Honestly, it's too fair. They're not playing fair, so you can't play fair. You got to figure out the rules and play within them and win. So let's keep going through it, though.
Sir, the next item, as you announced in your speech, is a requirement that federal workers return to full-time in-person work immediately.
All right. We spoke about that one already. You know what, though? Who cheers for that? Like, who cheers for the idea that people have to go back to work? If you have a remote job and you can work from home and you can go to the fridge whenever you want, you can go to the bathroom comfortably whenever you want, you can work out in your house, you can do whatever. You can still have coworkers and stuff like that, but y'all don't really gotta ever mingle. You don't have to spend the money to get to work. You don't have to spend the money to get back home from work. Who gets excited about the president signing an order that says he's ending stay-at-home work, remote work? Who applauds that? We have to evaluate these people. Let's go.
Thank you, sir. Next, we have a directive to every department and agency in the federal government to address the cost of living crisis that has cost Americans so dearly.
Keep in mind, they're applauding the fact that he's going to take a look at the situation, not solve the situation.
Sir. The next item here is the withdrawal from the Paris Climate Treaty.
Now, this one is tricky because, like, it potentially could save a lot of money, but it also could mess up the planet.
Yes, sir.
So it depends on how you feel about climate change and stuff like that. But the United Nations basically is hopeful that, like, we won't really do what Trump.
Over $1 trillion by withdrawing from that treaty.
Yeah, so what he just said, we're gonna save over $1 trillion just by signing the treaty. That is not, like, factual at all. Like, it might happen, but it's not factual. It can't be proven. It's just optimism. So I rock with optimism. So we'll give him that. But also, the United Nations just hopes that, like he could pull out if he wants to, but when you sign that you don't want to be part of the agreement anymore, and you're done with the treaty, the hope is that the people that are in charge of that in the United States still uphold the things that won't put carbon into the air and stuff like that. So that's the hope. And I don't know if that's a good hope because they're taking over government in a major way. So, I don't think that people are gonna hold down the agreement because these are Trump's people. So I don't know.
And the next item, sir, is a letter that will be transmitted to the United Nations explaining that we are withdrawing from the Paris Climate Treaty.
Yeah, like, what's the explanation gonna be? We don't believe in climate change, so we pulling out this agreement? I don't know. It's all nasty work to me.
Thank you, sir. This next item is a directive to the federal government ordering the restoration of freedom of speech and preventing government censorship of free speech going forward.
All right. So what are you really signing there? The restoration of free speech? When did we stop free speech? Free speech was never stopped. So signing something that says there's a restoration of free speech isn't even a thing. I can't think of a single instance where that's a thing. So we have to really figure out what that means because that could mean so many different things. We have free speech, but also Donald Trump just declared that he restored free speech. So we got to take a look at what that really means. Like, what does that even mean? I would love to read that whole letter, and we're gonna figure it out. We're gonna find a way to do that.
And lastly, sir, before we go back to the Oval Office to sign a large number of other items, is a directive to the federal government ending the weaponization of government against the political adversaries of the previous administration, as we've seen.
Yeah, these are things that are not happening. So again, this is something that he's signing that doesn't mean anything. It's like I'm signing this agreement to make sure that everyone that is 15 feet can't play in the NBA. There's no one here that's 15 feet that's trying to play in the NBA. There's no one here that's 15 feet. Like, what are you talking about? These are things that are not happening. So signing an agreement to make sure, like, it doesn't make sense. But it is, since people, so it's crazy because people believe that it's happening. So, and they're so delusional that they're gonna say he signed that on day one and it actually happened. That's what's like, as if it's not happening already. They're just gonna these are just people lying to themselves, creating their own reality. It's gross, but we're not going for it. Yeah. With that being said, man, I'm out. This is nasty. All right, y'all.